Hey guys, what's going on today? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be putting a new VP on my 02 24 valve truck. So if you guys have watched any of my other videos, I've been doing some dyno testing on this truck, and it seems to be kind of down on power from what it was before. Now, we did talk about the VP being quite a few years old now, and how even with the tuner on this truck that was originally on it, which was the Edge Juice Competition, when it did make over 700 horsepower, the most I could get out of it I think was around 550 horsepower or so. And it seems to be the more aggressive the tuner is, we're kind of running out of power up top. So originally I noticed this the most when we installed the 4K box, which was way more aggressive than the 3K box. So did some data logging, and we're losing a few signals above 2250, 2300 RPM. So we're kind of wondering if there's an electrical problem, like the PSG is just getting a little bit old on this VP, because like I said, it is about 6 years old now. So I do keep a spare VP. This is a Reman SO pump. So we're gonna put this on the truck, and then we're gonna redo some testing. The first thing we're gonna start with is by putting this nice pump top cover on the VP, so that way we don't have to pierce the wiring ourselves. It'll do it with this nice little focus, this little connection right here that pierces the pump top, and it just creates a really nice secure connection. So when you buy one of these, you get a T25. It has an anti-tamper one, so it has the hole in the middle. We're just gonna start with removing this plate right here. We'll just get this VP all prepped, and then we'll move on to the truck. This is what the VP looks like with the PSG cover off. We're gonna install this nice Quadzilla one, and that's all we're gonna do for now. Basically, the correct way of doing this is you wanna plug this in, turn the ignition on, and then you wanna start to thread the connector in that pierces it. And then you wanna touch a test light to it, and with ignition power on, when you have a good power here, you know it's connected. You want to do another half turn, and that's as far as you want to go with it. All right, now that we got the cover on, you just want to tighten these evenly. I'm sure there's a torque spec on it, but I just, went by how they felt when they come apart. So now we'll move on to the truck. We want to start with taking the intake horn off. So you got your 11 or 7/16 here. In my case, I have some Allens because the aftermarket intake horn, but you'll have 410 mils. And then also in my case, I have some water meth to disconnect and boost and stuff like that, but that's where we're gonna start. Once we have the intake horn off, we're gonna pop this little cover off, just 2 push clips, take these 2 13s off, and then we can move the app sensor out of the way. So now that the app's out of the way, you can see the pump. This is my pump tab here, so basically all we're gonna do next is undo the connector, take the pump tap off, and then the kind of only annoying part about a VP truck is taking all the fuel lines off. You take them off basically 3 at a time, so 2 pairs, and then just gotta disconnect the feed and the return. On my truck I have some extra sensors in there for fuel pressure that you may or may not have, but that's about it. Let's get after it. All right, now that we have our lines off, you can see down in here, there's these 2 13s on the back of the pump support mount. And then there's 4 13s around the pump itself to attach it to the timing case. So then we'll take those off, and then we're almost there, guys. Here's the 2 pairs of lines. Those are the rears, those are the fronts. That's how I take them off. A couple of 10 mils to take the hold downs off. All right. So now that we have the pump mount off and the pump unbolted from the cover, and those were actually 15, not 13. It's the pump mounting bracket that's 13. We're gonna take off the CCV right there. Just take, focus. Just take that spring clamp off. So then we can take the hose off, and then we just turn that off, and that's gonna give us access to the pump nut. So what we're gonna do is look in there the best we can, usually using a mirror, and we're going to want to point the keyway straight up. Now, we're pointing the keyway straight up to help line up the new pump when we go to put it in, and also, not that this happens often, knock on wood, the keyway is press fit in to the shaft of the pump, but with it pointing up, it just lets us feel a little bit more confident that the keyway is not going to fall out. All right, I'm going to try my best to show you guys in here. Hopefully it's not too far away that it can focus. All right. So, it is a little bit off, but it's mostly pointed to the top, and that's really all I care about. If I wanted to, I could turn the engine over on the crank and really watch it, but mostly I'm just concerned that it's pointed up. Okay, so I have the pump removal tool on there. That will push up the gear. Back in the day, you know, before I had a lot of tools, I have used a pry bar, 2 pry bars, and popped it off the back. You do risk damaging the pump and the case, so I would suggest buying a pump puller. They're super cheap. I think I paid 80 bucks for this one. All right, VP is free and ready to come out. That took me, I would say, right around 2 hours. I wanted to time lapse it, but the last time I did, I got copyright. So trying to avoid that so I can maybe monetize some of these videos someday. Yeah, there's not really any special tools that you need. This was literally everything that I used. We'll say, love the stubby Milwaukee. I was able to get in there in between the fan and the rad and crack the nut free instead of having to hold the engine and turn it by hand. That was super nice. But yeah, no real special tools needed, guys. There you go. That old pump out. Basically what I'll do is I'll put a dot right there just to see what the keyways line up, and I'll try and line it up matching that one, how it came out. But it's just kind of hard to see in there, obviously. All right, guys, I got the pump in there. This is going to be kind of the best view I can give you. You can see I'm looking in there with the mirror, and you can see that the keyway is sitting in the slot. So what I'm going to do is just loosely bolt the pump into place, and then I'll tighten up the nut. Torque on it, I believe, is 79 foot-pounds. I'll have to double check that, but it's right around there. It's either 69 or 79. All right, guys, got the pump all installed and torqued down. Now we're just going to repeat the process. I will say it's kind of refreshing working on this truck whenever I do. I work on so many common rails, it's nice to work on a VP truck, just something different. One thing that I am doing is I have my 2 fuel pressure sensors in here. One was set up for the edge, I believe that was this one, and then I had a fuel pressure gauge in there which stopped working. So what I'm doing is swapping in this for the edge one. This is the Quadzilla one. It must be scaled differently because it says that I have 60 psi fuel pressure, which is not correct. I know I have 16, 17, so I'm going to swap those. And then something else really cool, this is for the Edge Insight. So after I did one of my dyno testing videos, Edge reached out to me. We were talking and I said, hey, I'd love to be able to, you know, monitor some stuff. That's one thing I really like about the Quadzilla, is that I can monitor some stuff. So they sent me over one of their Edge Insights. It has the diesel starter pack in it. So you get EGT, you get the adapters for the various fuel pressure gauges. I got 2 in this kit. I'm just gonna run the 1 for fuel pressure. I might see if I can run 1 for drive pressure, because that would be good to know. But yeah, we'll get this installed while we're in there as well. So if you guys have never used these Edge Insights before, they're really cool. You just quick connect these together, and then this connects it to the monitor. So right here I have 2 outputs, A and B. Use them for pressure, whatever you want. This is your EGT one right here, which I will add later. I have too many EGT probes already in this truck, but yeah, these kits are really great. All right, so back to the Edge. Once you have your cable ran into the cab, Literally all you do is you plug it, the EAS cable in there, you plug this into OBD. That plug goes in the back underneath this sticker, and all you have to do is choose where you want to mount it. Since I'm going to be having the rad box on all the time, the dash killed, my plan was to just mount this where the cluster goes. That way I can, because when you use the rad box, it kills the dash, and I still want to be able to read normal stuff too. But big shout out to Edge. Thank you very much for sending me that. Let's finish up this install. All right, so now we're all back together. Pump tap is in, Edge is in. We're gonna key it on for the first time. And one thing that's nice now that we have the edges, we'll be able to see fuel pressure just to make sure we have fuel pressure up there. It is a VP truck, so we're most likely gonna crack number 1 and number 3 to get some air out. And let's do it. All right guys, so what I did right now is I just bumped the key. I'll do it again. It just makes the fast run. You can see the pressure building there. Hear the fast running down there. If we're getting pressure at our sensor, that means we should at least have fuel pressure up there, so we can crack some injector lines and start bleeding the air out. All right, we got fuel, as you can see, at number 1, fuel at a number 3. So now we'll crank it. Might have to bleed some more lines, but we'll see if it fires up. Let the fast run some more. I just didn't start the video in time, but it just fired up. One thing that's kind of interesting is fuel pressure on here only reads like 7.5, 8, but on the Quadzilla it reads 17 to 19, and on my old Edge it read 17 to 19. I've tried changing the scaling. I'm not really sure why it's off on this. I might have to ask the Edge guys about that one. Well guys, that's pretty much it for this pretty basic install. Next steps are going to be, we're going to put the 4K box back on and hit the dyno and see if this new VP makes better power. I'd also be interested in just re-dynoing it with the 3K box and also the Edge comp, just to see what kind of power it makes with a fresh VP. If you like this video, you know, like, comment, subscribe. I got some pretty cool stuff coming in the future. Putting a stock VP on this was definitely hard considering the other stuff that I have here already to put back on, but you know, we got fair testing to do. Still looking for Redline box. I did pick up a TST Power Max 3 that should be here this week, so we can try that. Probably gonna stack it with the Smarty because on their own I don't remember them being that crazy impressive, but you know, just trying everything we can find. Yeah, thanks for watching guys. See ya.